All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Mon Show Publishers, where we live that passive income life one idea at a time. If you don't know who I am, I'm Michelle Jenkins, and I want to thank you for joining me for this video. Today's video is going to be about the B word. I know a lot of people don't like to talk about it, but it's budgeting, and we're in a new year. And if you don't set your foundation correct in the beginning of the year, you're going to get further and further in debt, or you're not going to be at the level that you want to be when you get to the end of the year. So let's get into this video so I can show you what you need to do. All right, so here we are in the app that I want to tell you about. And if you haven't heard of it, it's called Every Dollar app. And it's a Dave Ramsey tool, and it's free to use. The only time you have to pay is if you want to get a little bit more in depth, where you're able to automatically add your transactions from your bank account, but you don't need to do that. The free tool is enough. So, number one, how do you budget? Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to understand everything that you're spending. The easiest way to do that, and since we're in a new year, what I would suggest is go to last year. And if you don't want to pull all of your statements, at least pull 3 months worth of your statements. And what I mean by that is if you have a credit card, if you use PayPal, a debit card, whatever type of way that you utilize money, considering that it's not cash, but you're using some type of card. If you're using cash, you won't be able to track it as well. It's going to be a little bit harder for you, but you can do it. But pull your statements for the entire year last year, or if you want to be lazy about it, just pull the last 3 months. And the goal of that is you need to look at those statements and look at what you're spending your money on. So let's say you pull a statement and you have that you've ate out, you've bought gas, you had to pay car insurance, you had to pay for utilities at home, you had a mortgage or rent payment, whatever it is. The goal is you want to find out what you're spending. And then once you kind of understand what you're spending your money on, this is where this particular website can help you out. And this website also comes in a app version. I'll show you that later. But this is what it is. Like I said, it's everydollar.com, and it's a free Dave Ramsey tool. Sign up. Once you sign up, you're going to be able to set your budget. And what you'll see is you'll see all these automatic things that are broken out, like you see for income, giving, savings, housing, transportation, food, all these different items. And you can add your own groups if you have a certain group. Like I put business expenses because I have different side hustles that I do. So if you open up the business expenses, you'll see all of these things on here, from getting LLCs to getting a website, logo, my Amazon seller fees, anything that relates to my business, I have it listed on here. And then if something new comes up that I didn't have listed, I just add it. So it's not hard to do. And any of these that you kind of break out and put on here, you want to make sure when you're thinking about the amount. So let's say you have car insurance. Well, car insurance is normally a 6 month, time period. Some people pay month to month. Other people, they just pay the whole 6 month, amount. But what you want to do is if you pay the entire amount, let's say you write $400 for the whole 6 months, you want to divide that by 6 months. So you put each amount on there. You don't want it to look like, well, January is when I pay $400, for my insurance. That's true, but I think you should break it out so you know exactly, how it looks on there. Even though you may not be paying it every month, it still kind of lets you know equally, what's happening. So I'll give you an example on here. Let's go to housing. So on my housing, you can see, let me find an example. I have ring security on my house. Well, it's $99 a month for them to store all of the videos that happens. But instead of putting $90, I just broke it out by 12 months, and this is how much it comes out to be. So that's what I mean by that. For my post office box, I have one of those. Same thing. Even though I pay the whole bill at one time, I still just break it out each month, just so I know equally what's actually happening. But this is how you do it. So all of these sections, you just go in and you put your different amounts on here. Like for instance, it shows emergency fund. If you're not familiar with Dave Ramsey and the baby steps, this is something that he always wants you to do. You know, he wants you to start off with $1,000, you know, for your emergency fund, and continue building that up until you have 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses. And they do show that on here. I'll jump over here real quick. That's another cool thing about this site. So you see these items over here. 1,000 for emergency fund. Yes, I already have 1,000 in my emergency fund. Pay off debts using the debt snowball, and then you'll see how much has been paid off, the total debt, you know, and it adds all of the different things, you know, over here on the baby steps to kind of let you know where you are. And if you're not familiar with the baby steps, you should watch and read up on Dave Ramsey's baby steps. It is a very good process. And the reason that I say that is sometimes people just need guidance and help on how to get themselves out of debt. And some of the things we incurred from that, some we just couldn't help it. You know, we might have had some very high medical bills. We might have been in a situation where we couldn't cash flow, you know, our college education. You know, we took out a loan. Whatever it is, you may have all of that stuff that is built up on you now, and debt for some people are in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you have other people that may only have a couple of thousand. But either way, debt is debt, and you want to get out of that. The easiest way to get out of debt is to budget, so you know exactly what's coming into your account each month and what's going out. You need to know where each one of your dollars are going. Plan for each one of those dollars, you know, so you're not arbitrarily spending money on something that you don't have. And a simple thing is, you go to the grocery store, all you need is to get some eggs. You come out and you got 6 or 7 things. You saw some potato chips, you know, that were on sale, so that was a good deal. But in actuality, if you're in debt, there are no deals. You know, those are not things you should be spending money on. It's not something that you need. When you're trying to budget and you're trying to set your solid foundation so that you're putting your position to build wealth, and that should be your ultimate goal, building wealth for you and your family. You know, you want to put yourself in a position so that when you're not here, if you have kids or you have family, things like that, you don't want to be a burden on them when you're gone, because they have to pay debt and different things off for you. So set your foundation right now, and it will help you down the line. The big piece of all of this is that people always say, well, I want to be a multimillionaire. I want to, you know, have a whole lot of money. But the truth of the matter is, if you're not good at managing $100, you're not going to be good at managing $1,000 or $10,000 or $100,000. It doesn't matter how much money you have. You're not good with small amounts of money. You're not going to be good with big amounts of money. So let's get our foundation together first, and then we can start building and going to those next steps to get what we want. So again, this is a great site. It's free. You will see things where it's got premium features and all that. You don't have to do any of that. Just use the basic features with the budget to start off and start documenting your items. The other thing I was going to show you is, I'll pull this up because there is an app for this, and it's free, you know, also. So this is what the actual app looks like. So the exact same thing that I'm putting in on the app on the screen, it shows the same thing here to show you what you've planned for. And then if you look in this section, it shows you how much you have left to budget. You can always change out the different months. Like if I go up here and I wanted to go back to any month last year, I can pull that up. But right now, this is for January. And the same categories, what income you have coming in, your giving, charity, or your tithes and offering, your emergency fund. Like for instance, if I wanted to go in here and say, I'm planning for 1,000, I could go ahead and put that in there and just say done. And then I got that amount in there. Now, let me show you on the app. If I wanted to say, hey, I've already paid this for the month, this is what you do. If you click on it, and then let's go to spent. And I'm going to show you how you add a transaction. So if you go in, and I'm just going to say 2005, and then choose the budget item. And this is for the mortgage, rent. And then I'm just going to say save. All right. If you go back over here to the budget, it shows now that, okay, she's paid the mortgage, for that. And so that's how you do it. You go in and then you add all these things on here. Once you have them on there, when the bill happens or when the transaction is done, you just go in and click it off. And then it'll show you, okay, well, this is what you got remaining. And you can go through them and you can say, okay, wait a minute, have I paid ADT? Has my Amazon Prime, have my Netflix, whatever it is that you have, you'll see all of those items on there. And it'll let you know what still hasn't, been paid yet. But overall, I think this is a great app. It's easy to actually enter the stuff in. It's easy to track it. If you miss a day, not a big deal. The other thing, let me show you one other thing. Let me see if it'll let me do it on here. What happens is when you roll to the new month, let's say it was February 1st. When you open up the app, it's going to ask you, do you want to move your items from January to February? You just click yes, and it will populate all of the things that you already have in there. It'll populate it for February. So you don't have to redo them again. The only thing that you'll have to do each month is to go in and say, yes, I paid this. Yes, I paid that. Or if you need to add a new bill that came in, say, you might have had some maintenance that was done on your car that you hadn't planned for, you can add that on there. So the same way you originally add them, that's how you would do it if something new, actually came up. So that is a very good app to use for budgeting. There are plenty of others out there. I just like this one. It's free. It's not hard to do. So I use this one, myself. And it's great to go ahead and start doing that now, because if you don't know, like I said, what's coming in, you're not going to know what's going out. And it's also a good way to kind of see how much money you may be spending on groceries or snacks or eating out, because that was kind of surprising to me. I knew I ate out, a lot, but I wasn't thinking about how much it was until I went back in there, and it's like, wow, I spent that much money, eating out in restaurants or fast food, whatever it was. I was spending a lot around that. So I was able to bring that amount down. The other way to do it too is you may write all these things on here, but it's like, let's say groceries. You may say, I only want to spend $200 on groceries. If you have a debit card that you are using, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. You don't see that money. What I would suggest is get you an envelope and do the envelope method. Some people don't like it, but it's a lot easier. If you say $200 is all I want to spend on groceries, if you get an envelope and you put groceries on there and you put $200 in there and put it in your wallet, when you go to the grocery store, don't use that debit card. You use that envelope. When that envelope is empty, if you still got month left, that means you didn't budget well. And I'm not saying you didn't have enough in the envelope. The question is, did you buy foods that you didn't need? Did you buy those extra chips? Did you buy that extra ice cream? Did you buy the Krispy Kreme donut? Whatever it was, that wasn't a need, but it was a want. And it's a difference between those. Like I say, when you're budgeting, you need to get the things that you need, not necessarily things that you want. And it's going to take a little while for you to get out of debt. Also, you didn't get in debt that quick unless you went out, and bought a very expensive car. It took a little while for you to get in debt, and it's going to take a little while for you to get out of debt. And it usually takes a lot longer because it's easy to spend money you don't have on a credit card. If you got a $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 credit limit and you're just spending like crazy, you ain't got $10,000. So why are you spending that? So it's going to take you longer to get out of that hole than it might have took you to get into that particular hole. But if you want to get to the point of stability, you're going to have to focus. You're going to have to put yourself in the best position possible. And you're going to have to stop doing some things that you may like. And if you have a crowd of friends that likes to go out partying, likes to buy all the nice stuff, likes to have all the new things, those are not the people you're going to be able to stay around with if you're trying to streamline and get yourself in a better position. If you're trying to get yourself out of debt, you need to be around like-minded people. You can't be with those people that have the Louis purses, the red bottom shoes, and can't afford to do it. Rich people are not wasting money on all of these different things. I'm not saying you don't see some people who have a lot of money and they got the very expensive cars, the jewelry and all of that, but the majority of them don't. I mean, when you look at some of the people like the Bill Gates, the Warren Buffetts, and they're not spending abundance of money on things that they don't need. Right. So what are the steps that we need to do? The first thing you need to do is you need to go and pull all of your statements from last year. Every credit card that you have, your PayPal account, whatever it is, your bank accounts, pull all of your statements, or at least 3 months worth, so you can truly understand the money that you've spent. And go ahead and create your budget for January. You can add in each of the things. You can create your own groups, whatever it is. Go ahead and put those in there. And then as you start getting bills, each day or each week, when something comes in, go on the app or, the website, whichever one you want to do. I would suggest downloading the app as well as using the actual website. To me, the website is great when you're first, creating it. I did create mine on my phone though, and I go in and I update it from my phone. I just like using a smartphone a lot more. It's quicker for me, but whichever one works for you, you do that. But either way, pull all of your statements, go and sign up on the Every Dollar app, as well as the website. Make sure you can get into both of those. Create your budget on there and start putting the different things in. If you're setting aside certain money that you want to spend each month for groceries or other activities, do the envelope method. Take those envelopes, write on there what it is that that envelope is for. So if it's groceries, write groceries on it, and then put the amount that's on there. Put all of those in your wallet so you have those. And then, yes, you can still have your debit cards and things with you, but that'll kind of let you know how well you're managing that. If you get to the end of the month and you still have money in those envelopes, that's great. Then maybe you need to bring that amount down, the next month. Whatever it is, just make sure you're budgeting correctly. Hopefully this video helped you out. Like I say, I know a lot of people don't like to budget, but there is no way to set that foundation and get where you want to go if you don't know where you're currently at. And if all you can say is, hey, at the end of the month, I got more month than I have money, you need to find out why that is, and then figure out what you can do to improve you being able to pay these different things. If you know that you need to have more money coming in, I have other videos that talks about other side hustles and things that you can do to try to bring in more money for you. What I tell people is, if you're trying to get out of debt, you should be willing to do different types of jobs. I don't care if it's delivering pizzas. I don't care if it's working at Walmart, whatever it is, until you get to the point to where you are out of debt, you need to try these other things, or it's going to take a lot longer. But focusing yourself and stop spending money on things that you don't need to, that is a good first step, even if you don't have the time or the capacity to be able to do another job on the side. Hopefully this video helped you out. Please sign up for my channel, click subscribe, and tune in for the next video. Thank you for joining Moncho Publishers.